Hi guys, today on the Math Minute with Miss Tate, we're going to talk some more about practicing with measuring angles with the protractor. Now so far, everything we've done has looked pretty much like this, where we see this side and it's lined up on the zero, and then the other side of the line is coming out the top, right? So we would go and we would look over here, making sure that lined up, and we'd see that there's a 180 on this side, a 0 on this side. So of course we start counting with a 0, so we'd use the inside numbers, and we'd go 0, 10, 20, 30, 40, and then there's 50, so it's right in the middle of 40 and 50, and each one of these little tick marks is 1, so we know that this one is 45 degrees, right? So making sure, and we've talked about this in class, that if it opens up to the right, you use the inside numbers. If it opens up to the left, you use the outside numbers. Now, we just kind of remember that right is in, like there's more right-handed people than there are left-handed people. So right, if it opens up to the right, you use the inside numbers. Of course, the easiest way to remember that is just to know that we start counting with zeros. Another thing we do when we look at an angle, the first thing we think about is that an acute angle or an obtuse angle, or a right angle. And when we look at this, we know that it's a little angle, so it's acute. And if it is acute, we know it can't be more than 89, right? Because acute is 89 to 0. A right angle is 90. And then an obtuse angle is 91 to 180, right? So we know that this is an acute angle. So there's no way that if it was an acute angle that it would measure, looks like, I see, we got 90, 100, 110, 120, 135. It can't measure 135. So if we accidentally looked at the outside numbers and we said this was 135, we would know immediately that's wrong because we know that is an acute angle. So far that's what we've been doing. Let's look at one more, which is the way we've been doing them. This is another one. Here's this one right here. This one opens up the other way. So this one opens up to the left. And of course, we're going to look at it. We're going to say, oh, this is an obtuse angle. So I know it's obtuse, so I know it's going to be greater than 90, right? 91 and up. So I'm going to start over here, and I'm going to look. And, of course, I start with 0, not 180. And I go all the way around. Here's 90, 100, 110. And then it's like one little mark past 110. So I would say that was like 111 degrees. Well, does that match up with an obtuse angle? Yes. Now, if we hadn't used the if we hadn't used the outside numbers and we'd use the inside numbers, it would be, what is that, 90, 80, 71? Well, that can't be a 71 degree angle because it's obtuse, which makes it greater than 90. So that's one thing we need to remember. Is it acute or obtuse? Knowing those rules, we can kind of figure out if the answer we got is, makes sense. Is that a realistic answer, right? So now, since this is what we've been doing so far, just standard angles like that. So today what we're going to talk about is when we get angles that aren't lined up with the 0. Okay? You say, what are you talking about? Well, they're going to look kind of like this. So I've got an angle that is still an angle, but it doesn't line up with a 0 on either side, right? So I've got to figure out how far it is between here and here. Okay, but I'm not starting with 0, so I've got to do a little more calculations than I would normally use, right? So I would say, okay, let's look. I've got from here to here, we know is 10. From here to here is 5, and we can count the little marks we want to. Here to here is 5, and then 5 more is 10. So I've got 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. This angle right here is 50 degrees. Now, if I want to turn this angle sideways like this and look at it, I can say, oh, I can tell by looking at this that this is an acute angle, right? Because we know acute is smaller than 90, and then there's a right angle that is 90, and then there's obtuse, which is greater. So that makes sense that this is a small angle. I just count from here to here. I'm just counting all the little tick marks. Now, I can count each individual one if I want to, but I'd rather just count by 10s or by 5s, right? Let's look at another one. Okay, again, I'm going to kind of line it up like this and look at it. This one looks like it is going to be greater than 90. So this is an obtuse angle, right? So I know that it's going to be greater than 90. So let's look. We're going to start right here. Now, I don't even care what these numbers are because all I'm measuring is from here to here. Okay? So I'm going to go 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60, 65, 70, 75, 80, 85, 90, 95. 95 degrees. That makes sense, right? Because we said it's obtuse. It would be greater than 90, and that works out. Let's look at this one. I've got an acute angle, so I know it's going to be less than 90, but again, I'm just measuring from here to here. So I can go 5, 10, 15, and here's 20, but it's like one tick mark over, so that'd be 21 degrees. So remember, guys, we're still just measuring what this angle is, and it's just going to be from this line to this line. So I'm just counting the marks between this line and this line. Much like I was doing before, I was really doing the same thing here. So like we said, this was 45 degrees. I can go back and count it 10, 20, 30, 40, 45. But I don't really have to do that if it lines up with 0. I can just go where it's poking out and get that. But if it's not starting on the 0 like these, then I'm just counting the marks in between. Okay? So that's what our assignment is going to be about today, is finding angles, the measurement of angles when they don't line up on the 0. So all we're doing is just counting the marks. If you have any problems, any questions, please jump on the Zoom. Jump on the Zoom to say hi. There's a lot of you I've never even seen your faces. I would love to get a chance to meet you guys. So either email me, dojo me, jump on Zoom. Let's chat if you need some help. Talk to you later, guys. Bye.